Good, Seth. How are you, my friend? It was good. Obviously we have our new athletic facility going on the north end of town, so we had to do some quick spot checks there, but they're making great progress. They're actually laser grading the infield for baseball right now, and they're getting ready to lay the sod for baseball and for the soccer slash football field. So they're installing irrigation, and it's really coming along. So yeah. Well, so we've got a couple RFPs that we're working on right now. One is for food service. So we OPA is our current food service contractor, and you can terminate food service contracts either for cause or for convenience. And so we wanted to open ours up, not because we were disgruntled, but because we wanted to see what else is out there. And so we I created that RFP through the help of the Illinois State Board of Education, obviously. And so we have four entities that requested paperwork on the RFP. We had three show up for a site visit over spring break, so we fully expect OPA, Aramark, and Genuine Foods out of Chicago to both all three place bids. So we've got that going on, and then we've got our pre-bid meeting coming up shortly for our bus barn renovation this summer, and we're gonna replace the outside siding, replace our wooden structure poles with concrete structure poles, add a second wash bay, those kinds of things. And so that will officially go out for bid on the 10th of April, I believe. So have both those things going on. We've got round two of our strategic planning slated for this Wednesday, April 2nd from 6 to 9 p.m. So we hope to finalize that going into our next 3 to 5 year plan. And then a lot of extracurricular accolades and successes over the last few weeks. So it does, definitely. Seth, when you and I were in high school, which seems like a long time ago, there weren't a lot of food service vendors out here just because most school districts did it in-house. They had their own in-house cook and in-house cooking staffs and those kinds of things, and there were a lot less restrictions from the Illinois State Board of Education. Well, obviously, ISBE's come a long way with food service and certainly nutrition. What you spoke to, and so the constraints are pretty pretty tight, and so it makes it tough to have your own food service program anymore. And so a lot of smaller schools, especially, reach out and they have a food service vendor provide those services to the district. So I know OPA is out of Missouri. I know Aramark, I believe they have offices here in Illinois. And then Genuine Foods is definitely out of Chicago. So, but all three of those entities deal with districts all over the state and help support them. There's some fresh food options as well. If your FFA program, does any produce or greenhouses or things like that. And so, that's our focus is trying to get healthier and trying to have a local influence on the food that's being put in front of our kids. Yes, sir. Sure. So we do have enclosed buildings for all of our buses, which is nice. They're not sitting in the open air over the winter. Now those are not heated buildings, but they are protected from the weather and the elements. So basically, they're big Morton sheds, but they are here in town. They're right across the street from each other. And so we have one wash bay. Gene Choth, who is our transportation director, does a phenomenal job. But it's time. It's time to replace some of the foundational poles in both of those barns. Again, they're treated wood, but obviously those take a toll with the elements. And so our goal is to replace those with concrete poles, which will solidify the structure. The roof was recently renovated a couple years ago, so the roof is fine, but the outside sheet metal on the outside, plus insulation, plus the addition of a new wash bay will all go a long way in us preserving the life of our buses. We currently lease our buses through Midwest. So obviously we need to, protect those for the sake of our students and keep them nice. But we do have abilities to plug those in. I mean, knock on wood, over the last 2 years, we haven't had any buses gum up on us or had to cancel school because it's been too cold. But just, again, one of those things that while we have the revenue, we want to improve the quality of our buildings, through capital projects. Well, so we were able, like most strategic plans in districts across the state, you kind of develop 5 key focus areas. And those focus areas could be a strength of the district. It could be a concern of the district. It could be a challenge or a weakness of the district. And so with those 5 key focus areas, we start to develop, strategies to create goals for each of those 5 focus areas. And so if it's a strength, like one of our strengths in the district is being able to hire highly qualified staff. And that's because we have a very competitive collective bargaining agreement and salary schedule. And so that's something that we're proud of, being one of the smaller districts in the state and offering great teacher pay that we want to continue to hang our hat on, because you have to be competitive in those areas to bring good quality teachers to your district. And that's not even talking, obviously, retaining them, long term. So we've been lucky there. Our 5 key areas for our strategic plan are obviously, like I said, a highly qualified staff. Communication is another big one. That's something that we've done a really good job of, but something that we also want to certainly improve upon. And we also have a growing special education population, and that's that may not be true of all districts, but it's certainly something that we've began to notice with our data and our metrics and those kinds of things. So we want to look out for those students and provide the best services possible for those students. And if we can't provide those services, then we want to send them to facilities and obviously financially pay for that where they can receive the services that they need. So those are 3 areas. Another one is student-centeredness. And then the last one is safety. And that's not just physical safety, that's emotional safety. That's the heart and soul of our district. Parents want to feel safe sending their kids to school. And we've done a great job of that, but we want to continue doing that for our district and for our families. Yeah. Yeah, so we divided into several categories. We had students partake into the first round who are also going to help into the second round. We have obviously our staff, so our district improvement teams and building improvement teams. So probably between 20 and 25 staff members will help us. We also have community members, business owners, board members. So technically, this will be our second special board meeting to help finalize these 5 kind of areas of focus. So what I did was I kind of strategically reached out to certain pillars of the community, business owners, people that have a vested interest in helping us improve those 5 key areas and even expanding the umbrella, if you will. And so there's always room for improvement in everything we do, and as long as we have that mindset, then we stay focused, keep our nose down, but our ears open, and try to provide the best experience possible for our kids and our families. Yeah, so ETA will be probably May and June to set us up for next school year, which will take us to the next 3 to 5 years. So really, this round two is taking those 5 focus areas, again, developing benchmarks and check-in times. So I've spoken to the board, and I want to be able to provide updates of our new plan probably every 3 to 6 months. And so those are in the form of annual data days that we'll bring the board in probably in January of each year and have our school improvement teams talk about their progress towards each of these goals. And so it's something that we talk about during every staff meeting, during every board meeting that the strategic plan comes up. And, it's something that we really look at with every major decision we make in the district is how is this going to improve our district improvement plan? It gives you a focus, there's districts out there who don't believe them that are still incredibly successful. But, through my experience in working with other districts, it gives everybody buy-in. If the majority of your staff participates in this, then again, they have a vested interest. It's not just something that's created by the administration and pushed out to the staff and community. We have parents on these teams, we have board members, we have business owners. And so, for a Veterans Park capital project, for example, we're going to bring in opportunities for outside visitors to our community, to our school district, to our restaurants in town, having all-day tournaments out at the park, that will bring significant business to our business owners, to our restaurants, those kinds of things. So it's important to have that pulse of your community and to ask for their help. And we've been lucky enough to receive their help, and it's been a very, very positive experience. Absolutely. Well, and case in point, my activities director and I just met with Vonderleith, which is the retirement center in our community. It's actually right next to Veterans Park. And so they are actually going to put in a concrete sidewalk from their facility all the way over to join the sidewalk at the start of our Veterans Park facility, because their retirement tenants want to come over, whether it's them walking or coming over in a wheelchair, but they want a paved surface that they can come watch baseball games, that they can come walk our track and exercise on the track. And so it's something that we've publicized as a community venue, and we're proud of that, and we're proud to be able to offer those services for our community. Yeah. Well, and we've had a lot of extracurricular successes over the last couple months. So our junior high volleyball team, our 8th grade volleyball team, made it to state. We played in Auburn, and we ended up finishing in 6th place. So we're very, very proud of our 8th grade volleyball girls. Again, that's been a staple in the Mount Pulaski community of having solid programs. And so we're really excited about the future of our volleyball program, because we've sustained that over time. Our high school Scholastic Bowl team were Tomahawk Conference champs, and that hasn't happened since the 90s. And so we're incredibly proud of that. Those kids did an absolutely fantastic job. We honored them with a board resolution at our last board meeting under our good news segment. Allie Murphy is our high school girls basketball player that earned 3rd team All-State honors. Ryan McVickers, our girls basketball coach, earned his 100th win in school history. And then the big thing really is the full adoption now of our shooting sports program for Mount Pulaski. And so I'll kind of give you the brief synopsis, but long story short, we adopted some board policy with regards to disciplining our students, and that's board policy 7:190. The old language in there stated that if obviously any students brought guns to school, that they would be expelled for 1 to 2 years. We amended that for the sake of shooting sports, we've gone to the Decatur Gun Club. And so that's obviously where we practice. But obviously we still have to transport kids over there. That's about a 30-minute drive. And so our shooting sports coaches, last year, we've got a bunch of people that volunteer, but our head coach last year was a gentleman who is an Illinois State police officer. We had an assistant coach that was a Logan County police officer. And so they absolutely put safety, the whole program puts safety at the forefront of everything they do. So essentially we admitted board policy to allow just guns, no ammunition, but guns to be on school grounds for the sake of our coaches securing those, locking those, and putting them in a vehicle to transport over to the Decatur Gun Club. So that's overseen by our coaches. We've obviously contacted our insurance company, and so they're fully aware and in full support. It's not foreign to them. But hats off to Jay Greening, who was our school attorney. He's done extensive research on this, and it's something that we were excited to be able to fully adopt and support as far as fuel for the activity buses going back and forth. They've had incredible. Oh, sure, absolutely, excellent. So it's not IHSA. However, it is on the list of up and coming sports in the IHSA. So essentially, you'll find certain sports or activities on that list. And then once they get to a certain threshold, then the IHSA will look at adopting those for an official sport. But for right now, it's through the USA Clay Target League, and we've had significant success over the recent years. Starting, well, it was way before 2018, but just some recent years. In 2018, we were first in the state through the USA Clay Target League for trap. In 2021, we were third place. 2024, We were state runner-up and national runner-up. We got second place in the nation for trap shooting. In skeet in 2019, we were state champs. 2021 state champs. 22 and 23, we were runner-up, and then last year in 24, we were state champs again. In sporting clays, we were state champs in 2024. So, again, a lot of really, really high successes with our students, and we've actually, I believe, we had 86 students that were interested in shooting sports, and I think around 75 are out this year, which is incredible numbers. And so obviously the coaches have been breaking down the most strategic groups to allow us to be competitive in those areas, but something that we're incredibly excited to be able to fully support for our students. Yeah, and I do want to emphasize that it's never during the instructional day. Never is that allowed. And so it's explicit in our language that it's either before school, before students arrive, or after school once students leave for the day, where we adhere to our very, very strict policies. I mean, there's a contract with students and parents that they have to sign that was recommended by our school attorney. And then a couple other areas as far as next steps, obviously amending board policy 7:190, establishing clear safety protocols and participation guidelines, consulting our insurance provider, and ensuring compliance with reporting requirements and maintaining open communication with all law enforcement. So this has been a long process. But it's some we ran through with a fine-tooth comb. Again, Jay Greening, who's our school attorney, has done extensive research on this, and so we are excited. But obviously, safety is always number one. And so, yeah. So to answer your question, that's never during the school day. Excellent.